All right, we
Hey,
have a
Mary.
quorum team at 6 o'clock. I'm going to call the meeting to order. This is Bob Connors, Chair of the Newbury Conservation Commission. I call the August 20th meeting to order and permit me to confirm all members are present and can hear me. When I call your name, please respond. Mary Rimmer,
Yes, here.
TJ Conti,
Here.
Mick Brown,
Here.
Diane O'Brien,
Yes.
Woody Knight,
Yes.
and Bob Connors is here. Good evening. This open meeting of the Newbury Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of COVID-19. In order to mitigate the transmission of COVID-19, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. This order you can find posted with the agenda materials for this meeting, allowing public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as public access is afforded so the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, the Newbury Conservation Commission is convening by Zoom as posted on the agenda and the town website identify how to join. Please note this meeting is being recorded and that attendees are participating by video conference. All right, well, good evening, everybody. Let me just clear out some of this paperwork. Upcoming meeting dates, September 3rd and September 17th. At meeting minutes review, we have the August 6th, 2024 minutes that were in the Dropbox. Why don't we take a moment to see if we have any questions, corrections, or concerns? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes for August 6th.
So moved.
Do we have a second? Okay. Okay, roll call vote. All in favor? Mary,
Yes.
TJ,
Aye.
Woody?
I abstain, I wasn't here.
Okay, thank you, Woody. Mick?
Aye.
Diane?
Yeah.
And Bob Connors votes yes. Okay, first matter, it's an RDA for 16 Plum Island Boulevard. The applicant would like to continue the fence around the property with a safety gate installed along the side yard to connect to the backyard. They're working with Woodward Fence Company. Tim, I had a chance to go out there today and to take some pictures on site, and I see the property owner is present. Helen, good evening. You're on mute, Helen. There you go.
Okay.
So Helen, I had a chance. I'm Bob Connors. I'm the chairman of the commission. I stopped by to look at your yard today.
Okay.
And it looks like you have fences going up the left side of the house along the back. And I'm assuming you want to run it down the right side of your property.
Yes.
Okay. Where did you want to put the gate, Helen? On the left side?
On the left side, if you're facing the house, the left side has more room to put a gate and is more level, where the right side drops down a bit.
Right. Okay. So, team, I was out there today. This is probably one of the highest lots on Plum Island. As you're coming on the island, it's after Pitter Hall. It has an oval shaped roof on it. It stands out, and the existing fence is kind of a sawtooth install. It's above grade. It's a solid fence. Two sides of it, which are existing, are all solid, and the applicant wants to continue this on the westerly side of the property, just down to the front of the house, Helen? or all the way down to the street?
No, down to where the other fence ends on the other side.
Okay, you're coming up the back corner and you're coming towards the street. Are you going
Yes.
beyond the house on the right-hand side? Or are you
Yeah.
stopping? Or you're
Beyond
not-
the house on the right-hand side, approximately about where the other fence on the other side ends.
Okay, so mirroring the easterly side.
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna open this up to questions. Mary, I'll start with you.
I seem to be having trouble accessing the Dropbox for this meeting, so I do have your email that shows some photographs of the site, but I don't know if there is a plan showing the limits of the work that they want to do. Was there anything, a sketch or anything that shows where where the fence is proposed?
You know what, unfortunately, if I open the Dropbox, I am not gonna have, Diane, do you have the answer to that?
Yes, if you look, it's in the Dropbox. If you scroll down at the very end, there's a photograph. It looks like it's some sort of aerial photograph. And it looks like the fence is where it's going to be is sketched on there, like with the red, little bit of like a red highlight. Looks like it goes back where the parking lot is. Does anyone
Yeah, I
else have that?
I don't have anything that's labeled for this meeting.
It's
8/20.
labeled 16.
Plum Island
So,
TP.
so you haven't got into the folder 8/20/24 folder for this meeting?
No, I can't find it.
Yeah,
I
that
had-
came in a Dropbox, excuse me.
Yeah, I had sent you a link, Mary, by email to
Yeah, but
get
it seems to be not,
didn't open.
it opens, like I got a link to the Greenbelt plan.
Hmm.
But if you drop
Okay.
below that, can you see the other file, other folders? No?
No, I can't.
Diane?
I have the same file open. I'm seeing the same photograph.
Can you share that? Can you share that, Nick, with us? That'd be great if you could. Or Diane, if,
I will try. What you have to
Yeah.
do is go to the email from August 14th. That's the one that opens up the entire Dropbox.
Okay, let me find that.
It
Yeah,
was
go
from
to
Bob,
the original email from Bob.
and I will see if I can.
60.
the
Okay.
trials and tribulations of not having a conservation agent.
Yeah,
Oh, look at that. Okay.
Bingo.
got it?
Yep, so there is a sketch, looks like. Download it. Okay,
Yeah, it's more like, it's not really an aerial. It looks like some kind of an oblique angle photo.
okay. If I share this, can you see it? Not showing
Yes.
Yes,
anything?
ma'am. Yep,
Yes,
that's
there
what
we
we're
go.
looking at. Yep.
There you
Okay,
are.
so we want to add this section here
Correct?
And scroll up.
All the way down to.
all the way
It-
down.
Yeah, it mirrors the
Up here.
easterly side, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So the easterly side, which exists, the proposal is to match that on the westerly side and connect it in the back.
okay. And are we using the usual 50% open fencing that we use? for now?
What's existing is not 50% open, but it's about, it goes from 12 to 16 or 18 inches above grade. And it's kind of been installed in a sawtooth fashion.
Okay, so
As you saw in the pictures I had sent you, Mary, how the bottom was open on it.
okay.
It wasn't
so
tight to grade. It wasn't tight
Okay.
to grade.
I guess if that's the case, if you can keep it so that it's,
Yeah.
10 or 12 inches above grade.
Yeah,
then that
so,
would meet that requirement.
so Helen, your existing fence doesn't go tight to the grade. It stands up about 12 to 14 inches in a kind of a sawtooth fashion.
Above the ground.
When
Above
you
the
say
grade.
It's above the grade. You mean, is there a space? It doesn't go, the fence doesn't go down to the ground?
What,
'Cause-
what the issue is, Helen, is that either the fence needs to be what they call 50% open.
Yes.
Or it has to be above grade to allow dune migration. I know that may sound strange where you're about 12, 14 feet above grade, but those are the
Right.
regs that we're dealing with.
Okay, yeah, the existing fence, I'm not sure, it doesn't touch the ground. However, what I was planning on doing was a 50-50 fence on the other side.
Okay, no, that's
What-
fine then.
What is, the fence that they have at, the restaurant on the corner. They installed that. It's, it's two fencings and it's open 50% on each side.
Okay,
That works.
yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Mary, anything else before I move on?
No, I just would recommend that as be a special condition in the
Right.
RDA.
Notation in the RDA, okay.
Yep.
Mick, any questions on this one? You're on mute, Mick, if you're,
No questions from me. Thank you, Bob.
okay. Thank you, Mick. TJ, any questions on this matter?
Just one, are any of those shrubs going to have to be removed to put the fence in?
No,
Okay.
Thank you, TJ. Woody,
Yep.
any questions for Helen on this matter?
No questions or comments. Thank you.
Okay. And Diane, any questions?
Nope, looks good.
Okay, I have no questions. So Helen, what we'll do is we will condition your RDA that it just memorializing that it has to be 50-50, 50% open to comply with the Wetland Protection Act.
okay, all right.
Okay. All right. Is there any other questions that the members have at this time?
Nope.
I'll entertain a motion to issue a negative finding for 16 Plum Island Boulevard with one special condition that it just, we memorialize that it will be a 50% open fence.
So moved.
Second? Okay, roll call, all in favor? Mary,
Yes,
TJ,
Aye.
Woody,
Yes,
Mick. Mick, yes?
Aye.
Thank you, Mick. Diane
Sorry.
Yes.
and Bob Connors vote yes. Thank you, Helen.
Okay, so that means it's approved?
It means it approved what you'll receive, a form with a negative finding with that one's notation. Once it is sent to you and filed with DEP, there's a 10 business day waiting period where
Okay.
someone could appeal that. So we'll see if we can get that out to you this week and get that going for you.
Okay,
But
all right, great.
don't start any work till you have that in hand and the 10 days has expired.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay?
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Next matter is another RDA on 544th Street. Applicant would like to replace a dilapidated shed on the property with a smaller one. It would be downsized from 144 square feet to 80 square feet. And they would like to install a pergola. I was on site today. I had a chance to talk to the property owner, and the property owner had spoken with the building inspector. The shed that is being proposed to replace what is basically a storage container now is a Costco type of prefab type of shed, as is the pergola. The location of the pergola was going to be behind the existing deck, but prior to the existing trees. It's on their property. They're not proposing to put, it's a temporary type pergola you buy at a big box store. They're not proposing to put any type of pavers or any change in the surface. under where the pergola is going. Okay, Mary, what's your thoughts on this one? These are both, the
Do we
building
know,
inspector has determined that these are temporary
okay,
structures, not
do we know
required.
what the distance to the wetland is from this?
I had Chrissy looked it up and she said a majority of the property, except for the far left-hand corner, is in a zone X.
Right, it looks like it's about, I mean, on Mass Mapper, it looks like it scales about 80 feet from the pond edge to the back of the house there, the back.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
we're on that. This is 544th Street, Mary, not
Oh.
Wall Plain.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass that on my comments here. I'm not too much here.
Okay. Yeah, they're taking out a big storage.
Oh,
container.
right. Now I know what you mean. Yes, my
Yeah.
only comment was if we could put that shed on cinder blocks or something to just elevate it above grade,
Okay,
that would be fine with me.
okay. Thank you, Mary.
I jumped
Uh,
ahead.
No, listen, Mary, you're just keeping a good eye on me. Nick, any questions on this one on either one of those matters?
Yeah, well, I know this is a freestanding kind of PVC polyvinyl type of pergola structure.
Yeah.
How does it sit on the ground? Does it sit on like single pavers on four corners, or does it have a center post? How does it actually sit on the ground?
You know what, typically, when they come, I hate to refer to like a tent type of stake that goes into the footings to hold it
Okay,
down.
all right.
That's pretty much how they go and probably why the building inspector deems it a temporary structure.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I was just picturing this large plastic like deck or something like that, so.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah,
sound,
again, you know what, because one of my questions to Colleen, who was the owner, was did they have any anticipation or plan to change the surface that it was going to sit on? And the answer was no.
and is this something that's taken up in the wintertime or in the fall, or, and then they reinstall it in the spring?
It's not a pop-up style
Okay.
pergola tent. You know, you've seen them in the parking lots of Home Depot and other
Right,
places.
I'd probably see one and go, oh, that's what you're talking, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay,
Costco has them all different sizes, and
okay, all right,
for $1,200 you can have a pergola in your yard, man.
I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
TJ, any questions on this project?
No, no questions.
Okay, Woody, any questions?
No questions or comments. Thanks, Bob.
Okay, Diane, any questions on this project?
No, thank you.
Okay, and I have no questions. So team, what I would suggest is just to memorialize that the commission will entertain a negative finding on reducing the size of the shed, as mentioned, putting it on cinder block just to keep it above grade, and that there'll be no impervious surface or change to the surface underneath the pergola.
So moved.
Okay, so
Second.
TJ, that's your motion? Well, let me do this. Is there a motion to issue a negative finding for 544th Street with the conditions I just mentioned, that the reduced shed will be on cinder blocks and the surface under the pergola will remain natural?
So moved.
Second?
Second,
Okay. All in favor, roll call vote. Mary,
Yes,
TJ,
Aye.
Woody,
Yes,
Mick.
Aye.
Diane,
yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. So Colleen, you'll receive a form from the town with a negative determination. It'll give you those couple of notations on keeping the shed elevated on cinder blocks, and wherever you place the pergola in that general location, that you don't have permission to change the surface that it's going to sit on.
Great, thanks so much. Appreciate your
Okay,
time.
there'll be a 10 business day waiting period where it's the appeal period, and once that passes, then you'll be good to go. Okay, thank you. Next order of business is 31 Rolfs Lane. Applicant would like to place a detached accessory unit in the backyard in the pool area. It sits back 50 feet from the pond. The ZBA has approved the project at their 6/20/24 hearing. It's interesting, Tim, Newbury has a bylaw that allows accessory units, let's call them attached or detached in-law units. Now, we all know that the state just passed a new mandate that allows ADUs by right. So Megan and her family fell under the current bylaw. The new ADU bylaw, ADA approval, as I recall, has been told for 6 months to give communities time to address their zoning, to make it, to adapt zoning to incorporate by right. So with that, I was out on the site today. There is a pond in the backyard. The yard is fully developed. It has a lawn right down to the water's edge. Chrissy had looked up the wetlands on this, and she said that the far left-hand corner, or let me see if I can give you a point of compass. Does anyone have the plan? Can anyone pull up the plan? I
Yes.
think that would be helpful. There we go.
So here's the pond. And here is the proposed structure, I'm assuming.
Right.
And here
Yeah.
is the 100-foot buffer zone. So it's, and this is 51 feet from the pond edge. And it looks from the aerials like this is all grass. Is that?
Yeah, it's 100% green grass.
Yep.
And it would seem to me that the one addition that would be required, if we consider this, is obviously some erosion control,
Right here.
separating, yeah,
Yeah.
right
Mhm.
there. And in talking to Megan, the staging area, there is a basketball court in the front yard. And Mary, if you pull your cursor up,
Up here?
yeah, that's going to be the access coming around the fence that way.
This
They
way.
Yeah, they'd be staging materials, would be staged on the driveway. They anticipate either a small mini excavator or Bobcat to do this work. They understand they'll have to put in erosion control, prior to. And this looks more, it almost is a cabana for a swimming pool that's going to be adapted for their mother-in-law, for Megan's mother-in-law. So why don't I stop there and open this up to questions? Mary, any questions on this one?
I would just ask Megan if there's any landscape plantings that are proposed around the building.
Yeah, Megan, you're on mute. Are you just going to maintain the lawn, or are you going to plant some shrubs, or what are you thinking?
So we're definitely maintaining the lawn but I'm sure we will eventually, put some plants and whatnot just to make it, there's a lot of plants, as you saw, Bob, in my yard as it is.
Right.
So we haven't got that far. We're definitely open to plantings or are not planting. I'm not sure what.
I think
Will
if
you-
I think the direction we're going is, if you're going to just maintain the lawn back to what, restore any disturbed area, and then put in the erosion control, that would be fine. Planting would be something you may have to come back to us with if you had a particular planting. plan
Okay,
you wanted
Unless
to
they're
propose.
native plants, in which case you can put them in without
Yeah.
further permission.
So as
So-
far like native, like hydrangeas, things like that, that stuff is fine, like what, is that what you mean?
There's,
Yeah,
there's
we
a,
can
there's a
provide
list
you
of
with the
approved
list.
plans. Yeah, there's
Okay.
an approved list by the Commonwealth
Yeah.
CZM.
That would be great. A list would be awesome.
Yep, okay,
Okay.
well, we could forward that to you.
Okay.
But other than that, adding erosion controls, it's a straight buffer zone project. I think I know this lot fairly well, and I don't believe that there's any. In some cases, you have bordering vegetated wetland that extends beyond the banks of the pond, and even if it's lawn, if it has hydric soil, that would still be considered jurisdictional wetland, but I don't think that's the case in this. I think it goes straight down to the pond bank here, so I'm all set, except for the addition of the erosion controls.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Mick, questions on this one?
Yeah, I noticed there's 2 proposed walls. So, I'm gonna assume, Megan, those are retaining walls?
No, those are existing.
They're existing, yeah, they're already there.
It says proposed wall there and above proposed wall, so those are in place.
Looks like this plan might be older.
Yeah,
Okay.
right now there is, on the other side of the pool area, there is like cinder block, wall. And then,
It's one of those interlock masonry walls. It's probably about 3.5 feet, 4 feet out of the
Oh.
ground.
So those are existing?
Right.
And so Megan, part of the plan is I would assume to run electric and plumbing out to this unit, right?
yes. Mhm.
So, be good to see that. So we can cross all the Ts, dot all the Is to see that on the plan.
It
Where your
actually
proposed
shows it on,
trenches.
Right
It's
there.
already there.
it shows the plan, it shows proposed sewer and water location.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Out in the driveway.
Yeah, those,
Yeah.
we did an addition, that's already there. We did it, through the list of the approved, excavator, TW, Jesse over there with them when we did our addition, and it was advised to us to bring over, because we were thinking about doing this, to bring over the water and sewer at the same time to the area. Of course, nothing is hooked up, it's just waiting, to be
Oh,
hooked
okay.
up there, and that's what's proposed on the plan.
So that's in place? That's in place then?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
What's amazing, Mick, when I went out to the site originally, my big concern was getting equipment access to the area
Mhm.
without disturbing. And
Right.
then once I was able to walk the site, they just have the perfect thoroughfare in.
Right.
Right from their driveways around the pool.
It's almost following that trench or following
Yeah,
that.
exactly right, and it's a walkable grade, it's. Any
Yeah, I think all it, just sorry for
erosion?
not seeing those 2 things on the plan. Yeah, just and going back to what Mary said, just dating the plan with, the proposed,
Erosion.
siltation barriers and erosion barriers, yeah. But otherwise, I think I'm pretty familiar with the property. It's very well developed as far as landscaping and whatnot, so.
Yeah, it's 100%
Yeah.
green line.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mick. TJ,
Yeah.
any questions on this one?
No further ones. Nope.
Thank you, TJ. Woody, any questions on this project?
Nope, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, Diane, any questions on this matter?
Nope.
Okay, are there any raised hands from the public at this time? I do not see any. Okay. Are there any other questions from the members?
I have one other question. Is there any other outstanding order of conditions on this property for the pool or the patio or anything that's within the buffer zone? Do you know if there was ever a filing for those?
You know what? I am not aware, but let me just check and see. Chrissy had sent me something. Oh, okay. No, she had sent me. I had reached out to Chrissy and asked her to check. I am unaware that there are any outstanding
Okay,
orders
we
of
should just
condition.
confirm that. But
Right.
my only suggestion would be that either the plan be revised or we make a note in the RDA, just so we don't confuse ourselves in the future, that everything that says proposed is actually existing,
Existing,
the
right,
exception of this new structure here.
right.
Because all of these proposed things, you know, on this plan are not what we're voting on, so either we need to get an updated plan that eliminates the proposed notes.
Yeah,
Or
I
we
think we
just
can
make a
the-
note as
Yeah.
part of our decision that that's the case.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to issue a negative finding for 31 Rolfe Lane with the following conditions. One, that a erosion control barrier will be installed at the 50-foot buffer line. And two, that the proposed existing retaining walls are actually to be noted as existing.
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second,
Okay, any further discussion before we do a roll call vote?
Do we want to have any condition that the agent be notified prior to start of construction so that there can be at least where this is new
Walkthrough?
construction, to have a pre-construction meeting just to make sure everything's understood?
Absolutely.
The contractor?
Yep. So Megan, typically what we require is prior to your contractor starting, that he schedule a meeting with the conservation agent to do a site walkthrough and go over kind of the schedule and sequence how he's going to do the project. And he can
So
inspect.
when
the
we're-
nation.
I'm so sorry. So before he starts, do I reach out to you, Bob?
Well, you would just note, you'd give Chrissy a call at town hall.
Okay,
We're going to have a new agent starting September 3rd.
okay.
But I would just contact the town, contact Chrissy. Okay.
And just say we're about to start and just to do a site walk? Is that what it was? For a site
Yeah, it
walk?
was a pre-construction site walk with the contractor and the conservation agent.
Okay, does the buffer zone have to be up first or no? That will all be decided. That will,
That would have to be up before he started construction, but it could verify the location of the barrier.
buffer.
We'll have this written into your finding, so that it'll
Okay.
be self-explanatory. So team, we're gonna amend the motion to include a pre-construction meeting with the conservation agent. So TJ, do you wanna second that again?
So moved.
Okay, Diane? have you-
second,
All right. Okay, roll call, all in favor? Mary,
Yes.
TJ,
Aye.
Woody,
Yes,
Mick,
Aye.
buffer zone thing.
Diane,
yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. All right, Megan, you're all set. We'll try to get you this, the form this week. There'll be a 10 business day waiting period before you can start. And again, you'll want to talk to the town about doing a pre-construction site visit.
Okay,
Okay,
great. Do you know, last question, for the pre-construction, how could it be, say, the excavator can't start for a month? Could I still have my contractor meet before? Does it, how soon before the project starts does that have to be lined up? Or
Well,
is there a time frame for that?
typically, whoever's pulling the building permit,
Mhm.
okay, would schedule the pre-construction meeting. And typically it's 72 hours prior to construction.
Okay,
What I would suggest is just get it, once you have your negative finding in hand and it hasn't been appealed, that you have your contractor reach out and walk through with the agent. Yeah, or myself if the agent's not available.
okay. And if he walks through it with you, even if the other things can't start after set, like if it's like 2 weeks after that, that's still fine to start.
Well, yeah, as long as it's 72 hours prior to.
Okay,
That's the minimum before. Let me put it that way. That's the
that's the
minimum.
minimum before.
Right.
Okay, okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Kim, I just want to make a couple of notations here before I move on to the next matter. Okay. All right, next matter is a RDA for 26 Northern Boulevard. Applicant would like to install a generator on an elevated platform within a gravel driveway area with no disturbance to the vegetation. Team, in the Dropbox, you had access to it, and there was a proposed typical raised platform. Actually, the contractor that is doing the work called me, and typically what he does is install 4x4 pressure treated. He goes down a couple of feet and builds a platform from there. I think actually he runs if the platform is 3 feet by 5 feet, you'll have a 4x4 in each corner. He'll go down a couple of feet. And I want to say he connects a 4x4 underneath it so that the posts are sitting on a 4x4 that's horizontal to the vertical posts. That's the typical platform he's been using on the island.
Oops, wait a minute.
That's the photograph there, Bob. That's the
Yeah, that
typical-
was that was one thing we talked about when David had come before us. when
Right.
We were.
I think that was our only,
Yeah, that was the only open area. Was
Was
the
it?
typical. Yep, typical.
and we didn't have a kind of a plan or what the structure was going to be, right?
Right, that was it. What was the makeup of the platform?
Yeah, yep.
Okay. All right, questions? Any other questions? Mick, any other questions on this one?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, TJ, any question?
No.
Woody, any question?
No, thank you, Bob.
Okay, Mary, any questions on this one?
Nope.
Thank you, Mary. Diane, any questions?
Nope.
And Bob Connors has no questions. Do we have any raised hands from the public at this time?
Yeah, what are you doing? So
No,
Uh,
does not appear.
That David, is someone in your house want to raise their hand and object to your project,
We heard you.
or- Okay, hearing no additional questions, I'll entertain a motion to issue a negative finding for 26 Northern Boulevard.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. All in favor. Mary,
Yes.
TJ,
Aye.
Woody,
Yes,
Mick, Diane,
Yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. So David will try to get this form out to you this week. There'll be a 10 business day appeal period. Once you have that and the 10 days have gone by, you're good to go.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Chairman, and appreciate the commission.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so team, we have, let's see here. So we have a couple of outstanding enforcement order. We have DEP file number 0501344, which is expired to Old Point Road, Sunset Club. At the last meeting, the owner had mentioned that he was going to have his application, a submittal in by today. There was a communication. We did get a revised plan that we put in the Dropbox. Millennium Engineering was inundated with COVID, apparently. And what they've done is they're going to get the submittal in by our September 3rd meeting for a hearing at our September 17th meeting. That's the revised proposal on that. So that's just an update. Any questions on that? Was everyone able to look at the plan? It went, I think I had forwarded the email to you both, all of you as well.
You did.
Okay, good. So hearing no questions, I'll move on. 105 Northern Boulevard, unpermitted work. Waiting for the weather to change, waiting for the actual beach grass to be available. And we do have a revegetation plan on file. So there's no further action required on that. Okay, next matter is a continued public hearing. DEP file number 0501431, 80 Boston Road. David Rimmer for Essex County Greenbelt. And Mary, I bet you're going to recuse yourself. This was for construction of a 5-foot wide gravel all-access trail and a wooden 12 by 12 viewing platform. Team, as you recall, we had a site visit. I think it was Mick, Diane, and myself. David Rimmer walked us through the site, and we had discussed a couple of proposed revisions to the plan, really memorializing what they would like to do or as an alternate what they may do. And David, why don't I turn that over to you? There was an updated plan that went out to all of you. It was in the Dropbox. So David, why don't you fill in the gaps that I overlooked?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name's, just as a matter of record, I'm David Rimmer with the Essex County Greenbelt Association. Want to thank the commissioners who came out last Monday to our site walk on August 12th. I can share my screen. It might be the easiest way to quickly go
That'd be
through
great, David. Thank you.
a couple of the plan revisions. Are you seeing that?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so there are basically three things we talked about at the site walk that would be revisions of the plan. And I'll just go through them sort of one at a time. Without having the other plan up, the first, I'll just explain them. The first one was to extend this section of trail here. Are you seeing my cursor?
Yep.
Yeah, so we hadn't originally included an upgrade of the probably 50 feet of trail that goes from the edge of the parking area to the beginning of the new trail. So it just made sense to tie that all together. So we were asking that as a revision to our original plan. The second was a detail on the plan, which if I zoom in a little bit, I don't know if I can, I think I can do that. You'll see that we talked about including a wooden, so the slope is going from sort of west to east here, and we were we proposed putting a sort of a small wooden stop board along the downslope edge of the trail to sort of retain this stone dust material that the trail will be made of. So we have that added to the plan, and that is it's a little hard to see here with the, let me see if I can move. So here it is. Here's the board that would be along the trail, and there will be a piece of rebar that will be sunk in to hold that board in place. So on one side it'll have the stone dust pushing against it. The other side it will have a piece of rebar every 4 or 5 feet probably to hold it in place. And it'll extend a little bit above a grade to retain the material on the, as it slopes down. So that was the second revision. And then the third revision was back to the original plan, was that we would like to do a little bit of clearing in this, what says see project note number 6. So this is the viewing platform here that folks would get to and sit and look out over this large wetland. We'd like to do a modest amount of clearing here. So if I can get my, I'm gonna back out a little bit. So there's general project notes, and if you look at number 6, it just talks about within the resource area between flags B15 and 13, that we would do a little bit of pruning, some removal of some invasive plants like buckthorn and multiflora rose, and maybe a few of the dead standing trees and dead standing wood and branches that are there. So essentially, other than that, we're not changing anything that we've proposed to date, and so I'd be happy to answer any questions about those revisions and discuss the project, anything more with the commission if they have any questions.
Thank you, David. So team, when we did the site walk, the first 50 feet of the walkway is existing. And we discussed refreshing that as you're there doing the work to make it monolithic with the proposed walkway. So that's an existing access
Yes,
walkway.
this is existing.
And it was to refresh that while they were there doing the work, it made sense to get it all addressed and all on the plan. I'll stop there and I'll entertain questions from the members. TJ, any questions on this one?
I'm assuming normally I would listen to Mary's questions and comment on the new clearing that were you proposed. So I'm assuming you've already got the stamp of approval for that. So I'll say no, I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you, TJ. Woody, any questions on this project?
No questions. My only comment is it looks good. Looks like a good project. Thank you.
Yeah, I've not been to this area, but it's an interesting area. And Woody, something tells me as a kid, you might have hung out in this area from time to time.
Yes, I'm very familiar with the area.
Thank you, Woody. Mick,
Yep.
any questions? Mick, you were on the site walk with us. You were in Bag.
Yeah,
You were
I think
very in the field on this one.
Yeah. So, no, I think the only other thing we discussed, David, was there was going to be some removal of some trees. And I think if we can capture somehow just that we do a quick review, if you want to mark those trees for clearing, and just, I think, give us a heads up and we can come out and do a quick, one of us, Bob or the conservation agent, come out.
Well,
to do that.
why don't we just, we would have as a condition a pre-construction meeting prior to
Perfect. Yep.
start with the agent. And we can make a notation just to review. To be honest, I really didn't see any trees of any size where where it was flagged.
Right. And I think we had discussed that, the stuff you had mentioned, there was some deadfall and some other there was like a very poorly, poor health cedar that was.
Yeah, there
not
was
long for
one
this world.
right
Yeah.
in this little stretch of trail
Yeah.
here. There were a couple of probably under 6-inch caliper,
Yeah.
not in very good condition on trees, and that would be the only place, including over here, that we would do any significant removal of trees. Anything in here would just be pruning, and a little bit of invasive plant removal, which not native, no native species would be removed.
Right. No, I think that the idea of doing a vista cut is a great idea, there, and really kind of enhances that whole viewing platform. So I think it's a good thing, and we'll probably keep people coming out there. But yeah, I would think any major trees that are going to be removed, say greater than 3 inches DBH or something of that nature, just mark those so we can just get eyes on them at the pre-construction meeting. That would be great.
The biggest one is that big, huge leaning white pine that's right in the beginning of the trail. That's
Get that out of there sooner than later. Okay.
already
I think you have approval to hack that one down. Yeah. That's going to be a tricky one.
Yeah.
Anything else, Mick?
No, that was it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mick. Diane, any questions on this one?
No, I hadn't been familiar with the area either, so the sidewalk was good.
Okay, I do not have any questions at this time. Are there any raised hands from the public at this time? I'm depending on all of you fellow members, and David included, to see my screen.
Don't
is
see
so
any.
small with everything else. Okay. All right, do any members have a request for any additional information, plan amendment, or adding additional content to this notice of intent?
Nope.
I do
Okay.
not.
Hearing none, do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Okay, roll call, all in favor? TJ,
Aye.
Woody,
Yes.
Mick, Diane,
Yes.
and Bob Connors. All right, so team, this is the time we would typically discuss any special conditions on this matter. The pre-construction is a prerequisite of our normal order of conditions, general conditions. Anything else? I think, David, you've got a feel for what we're looking for. If you run into something before you start, pre-construction would be the time to run it by the agent. If it reached a level that he felt it would need to come back to the board for a discussion, then we would address it at that point.
That's
Okay.
great. Yes, I'll await the appeals period and the order of conditions, and then we'll plan our project around that.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to issue an order of conditions for 80 Boston Road with our usual conditions. Roll
So-
call vote, all in favor? Oh, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second,
Okay, roll call, all in favor? TJ,
Aye.
Woody,
Yes.
Mick,
I,
Diane,
yes.
and Bob Connors. David, as we do not have an agent, we've been recommending to the applicant to submit a draft order of conditions for review to expedite the process. So we're going to leave that ball in your court.
Okay.
And I think
Is
you
there,
have,
is there a template, and maybe Mary can help me with this? Is there a template that you start with?
yeah, you know what? Chrissy should be able to help you with that,
Okay.
or certainly Mary.
Okay,
Okay.
happy to
Thank you,
do that.
David.
Okay, good night, everybody. Thank you for your
Good night.
attention.
Night.
Okay. All right. We have a general project discussion. Governor's Academy, Wendy Reed. I see Wendy on the call. Hi, Wendy.
I'm here. Hi.
Removal of a collapsed culvert on the property. Work in partnership with Northeast Mosquito Control and Wetlands Management District to remove a culvert collapse from the Parker River tributary on the property. There was something called Calm Island in parentheses. I'm not sure what that means, but Wendy, why don't you give us your name and your
Sure.
position and give us your presentation.
Sure. So I'm Wendy Reed. I'm the environmental manager at the Governor's Academy. So I just wanted to have an opportunity to discuss with the commission. We intend to file an NOI this fall for the project. I know Stephen, the wetlands project coordinator with Northeast Mosquito, has had a couple conversations with agents in the past, but I don't know that it's been communicated to the commission. So I really just want to get your input to help us scope it, as well as anything you'd be looking for in terms of conditions. So the project itself is restoration of a culvert. There's about a 6-acre area of marsh that's brackish, tidal, freshwater. It was previously farmed, and we have a map from the 1930s where 2 earthen berms were actually constructed on the northern side to prevent the Parker River from draining through this marsh. The area we're looking at is a farm road that went out to Corn Island, which is right in the center of the marsh. And yeah, thank you. You can see the dot where the culvert is. It's about a 10-foot wide farm road, just a gravel road. And there's about an 18-inch culvert, which has collapsed at various periods over the years. Rocks have been added to try to shore up the road. And so this area has been on the radar of a lot of local, state, and federal agencies interested in restoring this area of the marsh. And we've met with a lot of them, and just recently decided to partner with the Northeast Mass Mosquito and Wetland District on this. So the study that I included with my materials is a feasibility study that was done in 2009 on behalf of the CZM. And that talks about all 3 of the areas, but specifically the culvert that we would like to restore. So the plan, or the tentative scope right now, is for the mosquito and wetlands group to do all the contracting work. They would remove the culvert, remove any rock that's been added, try to reshape the banks of the creek to try to restore it to the original condition. And then we plan to we don't need vehicle traffic out there. We just want to put a footbridge that will span the creek, so there won't be any, anything installed in the creek. And so that's the extent of this project. It won't do anything about those berms, but I think, you know, longer term, that is an interest for some other agencies to maybe take a look at those. The interesting thing and kind of cool thing for a school is that our students have been engaged in talking about this project, and they spent the spring collecting chemical, physical, biological data out in this area. And so we want to see, once the culvert's removed, what impact that has on the vegetation and the aquatic species and so forth. So it's really exciting opportunity for our students, as well as restoring the ecological integrity of this marsh.
Okay. Wendy, why don't I stop you there and
Sure.
open this up to questions from the members. Mary, questions for Wendy? Wendy, excuse me.
Yeah, thanks, Wendy. This looks like a great project. I know that it's been sitting around for a while, and some of the tidal monitoring that is associated with it is back, you know, dates back to 2008, I think. In
Mhm.
in this, somewhere down in here shows the tidal monitoring. I think there's some hydrographs that were included.
Yeah, yeah, there they are.
And that would typically be required. One of the things that I'm wondering is this, what is the state of degradation behind the culvert? Is it Phragmites? That looks like cattail there.
It's mostly a cattail marsh. The culvert itself has been, you know, this was in 2009. And that's, you know, almost 15 years ago, and the
Yeah.
culvert is almost completely blocked. There's scouring pools on either side that are quite large from, you know, as the tide goes in and out. The students discovered, you know, a fair number of dead fish that they just get trapped on one side of the culvert and can't get through to the other. So yeah, it's definitely an area that needs some attention.
And this is on governor's property. It's not on public land or anything.
No, it's
okay.
on governor's property. Yeah.
And is it in rare species habitat?
It is not. It's an ACEC, but it's not. It doesn't have any identified
It is
species on it.
ACC. Okay.
It is. Yeah, that whole area is.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, there are some permitting hurdles.
Mhm.
Were you thinking of filing this as an ecological restoration notice of intent?
No, unless you think that would be wise. We're kind of following the Northeast Mosquito and Wetlands group's lead on this. They suggested a straight NOI, but if you think differently, I'm happy to look into that.
Well, it may trigger it may trigger MIPA review if it's an ACEC.
Yeah.
And so the ecological restoration notice of intent would help you avoid that.
Okay.
If
Yeah.
it qualified, I know with the footbridge added, I'm not sure if that would make a difference. It may not. But that's one thing that you could consider is and for the rest of the members who aren't aware, there's a separate form, a separate notice of intent process for strict ecological restoration that meets certain criteria that are previously established. And one of them is stream daylighting, which this would essentially be. And you could look at the criteria, Wendy, and see whether or not it qualifies, and in which case it's kind of a one-stop permit. So that would serve as your water quality certificate as well.
Excuse me.
And you know, so you might want to do some legwork to find out about that. And also you may need to update your tidal monitoring. Because one of the concerns is that whether or not you want to go back in time to the original channel dimensions, or if you want to recreate something that's a little bit more restrictive given sea level rise. There's a concern that opening up culverts too much, or or eliminating obstructions too much can also lead to unwanted, flooding of marshes beyond what a high marsh could sustain, or whatever you're trying to create. If you're, maybe it's low marsh habitat. I'm not sure what the end goal would be for your restoration. If you're just looking to have it continue to be cattails, or is it, if it's converted over to Phragmites, what's the end goal for the restoration in terms of the habitat you're creating? And how is that affected by the culvert size, the new channel size? So I guess I just would caution you about, there may be you may not need to meet stream crossing standards that are applied to freshwater streams.
Okay, yeah,
You may be more concerned with what the tidal amplitude is in there and the hydro period for tidal flow in and out and making sure it can get out. So a little bit different considerations for coastal culverts than inland ones. But
okay, great.
if there's something I can do to help along the way, feel free to reach out.
Okay, great, I appreciate it.
Thanks. Bob, you're muted.
When I was sneezing, I didn't want to share that with my fellow commissioners. Is your intent to replace the existing culvert with like size 18-inch culvert? Or
No,
you-
our intent is to restore the creek and just leave nothing there and have a
Oh, okay.
footbridge go
Okay, I
over.
get you. Okay, all right.
We've considered maybe not even having a bridge, but it would allow students to go to the other side to collect data. And so I think it's worthwhile to
Yeah.
permit everything at the same time.
I think they would probably allow you to do that under the ecological restoration NOI. So
Okay.
look into that.
Okay, Mary, anything else?
Nope.
Okay, thank you, Mary. TJ, any questions for Wendy on this?
Not at this time.
Woody, any questions on this project or this proposal?
Just a quick history question. When was the culvert installed, out of total curiosity? Does anyone know?
Well, so we have a map from circa 1930s, and it shows the culvert written in. So it's not clear whether that was part of the map or somebody noted it on the map after. But we don't have any records. It's interesting that in this report, at one place it said it's a granite culvert, another place said it's vitrified clay, and Stephen from the wetlands group said he thinks it's metal. So I'm not sure. That may help us identify when it was installed once we take it out, but.
Okay, thank you. It seems like a great project, and I just out of total curiosity, I want to know.
Yeah,
It's been
I'll
there
let you
for
know.
200 years or 100 years, so.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Woody. Mick, any questions about this project?
No, I think, Wendy, I think this is a great project, and any way we can help, just let us know.
Okay, great.
Okay,
Questions from me?
Diane? Thank you, Mick. Diane, any questions on this project?
No, thanks, Bob.
Okay, and I have no questions. Thank you for this detailed presentation,
Sure.
and we look forward to your submittal.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. All right, team, that is our last agenda item. Under administration, staff reports and updates. I need a drum roll here. We have a conservation agent update. The town has hired Mason Ferrick as a new agent who will start September 3rd. His CV was put into the Dropbox. Mason lives in Byfield. I had a chance to meet this young man over the weekend. Energetic, personable, and I think he's going to be a good fit for the town. And he's currently, I think he's still working for Mike DeRosa at this point, and Mike has been before the commission many times and enjoys a good reputation within the wetland community.
His brother apparently is Tyler Ferrick, who
Yes,
is the reviewer at DEP, also former DeRosa employee, but is the reviewer, and he's doing the review of the superseding order out at
Cricket.
Cricket Lane.
Cricket, okay, but also I think wasn't he there for the driveway superseding order?
Oh, for Steve
33.
Mateas.
Yeah,
Okay, I met Tyler because I was at that site visit.
mhm.
Okay. So team, that's all I have. Woody, any words of wisdom you want to add to the Newbury Conservation Commission at this time?
No,
Yeah.
nope, not at the moment.
No pressure, Woody, no pressure.
Yeah.
Unless you think there's something I should talk about.
No. Listen, team, it's 7:05 PM. This is
Good meeting, Bob.
A
Yeah.
lot of good stuff. Good.
I-
Diane, any final thoughts or comments?
There, one final thought that, the Mass Association of Conservation Commission's fall meeting is coming up in, I think it's late September. They have great workshops. If anybody, wants more information, I can send it to you. It should be free for Conservation Commission members, and it's a great opportunity to get, you know, bear down on certain specific topics, and you can pick which, workshops you want to go to.
Are they all Zoom type workshops or are they in person?
They're in person.
They're okay.
Yeah.
We just, Chrissy called me the other day and she wanted to know if the commission would approve our annual dues to MAC. And I said, if you paid them before, you should pay them again.
Yeah.
So. Mick, any other thoughts before we?
No, I don't have anything. I thought this was gonna be an 8:30 meeting, looking at that agenda, Bob, so nice job moving things along.
Well, you know what, what I've learned is the amount of work that the agent actually does in between our meetings. And it's, the value of doing a site inspection prior to the meeting tonight and getting to hear from the owners directly. It's insightful, and you get to offer a little guidance too, that, you know, the do's and don'ts, so. But TJ.
Yeah, I was gonna say that your sending the photographs prior to the meeting was really helpful, so that was, getting those photographs helps
I
clear up a lot of questions.
apologize, I didn't send them out to everybody because I didn't want to have it be considered deliberation.
Ah.
I-
So Diane's mad at me that she was blackballed on the photo.
That's okay. That's okay.
You're
You sent
a
it to
quick
the,
learner.
you
You
sent
can
it
catch
to the important people. That's fine.
Well, you know what? I didn't have a chance to put them into the Dropbox and then label them correctly so that they actually made some sense. TJ, you had your hand up. You got anything you want
I
to talk
just,
about?
you know, speaking to the work you've been doing while we've had no agent, just wanted to compliment you on that. I know it's been a lot of work, and September 3rd can't come fast enough to get an agent to free up some of your time and energy. So thank you for all you've been doing.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Chrissy, our administrative assistant, has been doing a great job, and
A whole lot of it.
the amount of calls that she gets every day is mind-boggling. It's just
I believe it.
mind-boggling because
Yeah.
But I think that the good thing is Chrissy works with Peter, the building inspector, because he's the admin for both. So there's an overlap of stuff coming in that doesn't fall through the cracks. And you know what? It's a team effort. It's a team effort. So, well, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Second?
Okay. Roll call. All in favor? Mary,
Yes.
okay, Woody, Mick, Diane, and
yeah.
Bob Connors.
Yes.
Good night.
Yeah.
7:08
Thanks.
PM. This is
Well done.
go enjoy dinner.
Might be a new record.
Efficient. Very
Thank you,
good.
guys. Have a good night.
Bye now.
Have a great
Bye,
night.
Bob.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.